I'm hoping with everything going on around you that you're feeling this natural curiosity to learn about others. As you dig in and start asking questions and having conversations, I wanted to give you a few simple tips to make sure that the interactions that you have create connections and not barriers. When you start having conversations, it's easy to want to feel like you're taking kind of a field trip into a new and exciting place. And so you might ask questions about culture and background, like tell me a little bit about you and where you come from. As you ask questions like that, however well-meaning it is, take a step back and think about who you're talking to. It's really hard to explain about culture from the standpoint of being from a particular country or representing a group of people. Understanding someone's culture and background is complicated and personal. It's very likely that the person that you're asking questions of experiences a cultural blend. Instead of assuming that that person's culture is different from yours, really dig in and learn about the person. When you assume that the person's culture is different from yours because of the color of their skin or some other characteristic, then you're really placing a barrier between you and the person. You're saying, you're different from me, teach me about you. But if you can look at an individual and understand that they're really a combination of many things, and that this is a person that is different than anyone else that you'll meet, then it becomes about understanding and learning from other people. Take the time not only to learn about the differences, but also just understanding the person's perspective and where they came from. This may not be something that happens in the first 5 minutes that you're communicating with someone. Usually really digging deeper about a person's background takes time and trust. Set in your mind that this is a long-term game to learn about others, but also know, rest assured, it's also going to have long-term gains in how you are able to understand and interact with others. It's really good to want to learn about others. I really want to encourage you. But as you are approaching someone with questions, make sure you take time to ask permission to ask those questions. It's often when you're a person that's different from others that you will field questions and comments about your background and all the assumptions that go along with it. It can be really tiring. If you want to get the best out of it, make sure that that person is ready for your questions. Just say, I wonder about a few things. Do you have the energy to answer my questions? Or do you have time to answer my questions? 9 times out of 10, just asking permission will create the permission that you need, but it also gives the other person a chance to say no if they're not prepared for it. Also remember that all you're learning about is that individual. Don't expect that person to teach you everything about something or to be advocating or speaking for a group of people. Just learn about the individual. As you're enthusiastically having these conversations, make sure that you're not assuming things. Sometimes we come to conversations with ideas in our head and we ask questions and we want to learn so that we can fill in the gaps of what our own understanding of a situation is. I want you to know that it's really easy to feel that energy, and it can feel discouraging because not only are you trying to share information, but you're also subtly trying to make sure that you are not making things harder in the long run by reinforcing any negative assumptions. Come to the table with an honest desire to learn and understand the individual. Leave the assumptions aside. You're probably going to learn something that you didn't realize, and your deeper understanding of the differences will be enhanced. My final suggestion is that you don't make this political, and because the situation is so highly charged and political, it can be really difficult. It will take some intention. You may feel like there are some things that are happening right now that disturb you, that challenge your sense of place and understanding and history, and it is hard. And these hard things are what are challenging us to understand each other. There's always something good in the difficulty. But when you're coming to a person, you have to make a decision about whether you want to have a political debate or you want to have a real conversation where you are learning about another individual that is in your community. If you make the conversation political, then you'll have 2 things going on. You might have someone explaining what their viewpoints are, or their backgrounds are, but then you're also going to have a natural defensiveness because you're having a political conversation. Something to remember as you travel down this path of learning about others is that you'll never truly be able to comprehend the nuances of all the cultures that exist in the world, and particularly in our community. And so because it's so complicated, think about this as a game that will last a lifetime. As you walk down this path, be open to learning about others. Realize that it may not happen at the time that you want to, but that there are lessons all around you. And the more we know about each other, the stronger our community will be.